You're making it really, really hard. That's what she said. And it doesn't have to be. Look, I made over 7 figures online in my business with just one digital product doing a little over 900K. And I'm telling you, this ain't rocket science. So just follow this step by step. It's so simple. A lot of times when I say something is simple, people think that I'm saying that it's easy when I'm not, because easy and simple mean two totally separate things. But things tend to get easy when you make them simple. But what's easy to do is also easy to not do. So are you going to easily simplify things to make stuff easier on you or not? That is the question. And it's only gonna take me about 5 minutes to break this down. So if you don't have 5 minutes to spare, then you'll probably just make things more complicated than an Avril Lavigne song. You know, why you gotta go and make things so complicated? I see the way you're acting like you're somebody else, getting me frustrated. I'm sorry, I was friends with some emo kids back in the day. But look, this all comes down to this. You have to sell something to somebody. And everybody's out here trying to make money without selling something to somebody. But what do you sell to the somebody? Well, you have to sell something that has a perceived value to somebody, because that's the only thing that people spend money on. People only spend money on something that they deem valuable to them, and they only spend money on something that has a perceived value of more than the money that they're spending on it. Because if they think that their money is worth more than the thing that you are selling, then they're not gonna buy it. They'll only buy it if they believe that the thing that you're offering is worth more to them than the dollar that they're spending on. We have to have unequal value proposition. So most people are out here failing because they're trying to think of things that are worth a certain amount of dollars instead of thinking of things that are worth more than the amount of money that they're going to get back in return. It cannot be an equal value proposition. It has to be an unequal value proposition, to whereas your consumer, your customer deems the thing that you have to offer to be worth way more to them than the money that's in their pocket. So how do you figure out something that has value of somebody else? Well, at the end of the day, that value is actually going to be a solution to a problem that somebody else has. Because when you really get to the core essence of anything that anybody buys, it all solves some type of problem that we have in our life. That's the only thing that people buy. The root of everything, the root of any reason why any of us, you or I, spend any of our money on anything is because at the end of the day, it solves some type of problem that we currently have in our life. So what you need to be focused on as an entrepreneur is obsessing on coming up with solutions to other people's problems. That's why most people can't make more money, because they're thinking of ways that they can make more money instead of thinking of ways that they can come up with solutions to other people's problems. They're only thinking of themselves. They're not thinking of others. They're not thinking of the people that have the money that they are going to exchange with them. They just keep on thinking of ways to make fast money and ways to make passive income and lazy ways to make passive income, when all that you have to do is obsess on coming up with a solution to somebody else's problem. And that person with that problem will pay you for that solution, and they will happily pay you. And now there's two routes that you can go with this. Let me grab my whiteboard. So there's two ways that you can go with this, right? Now, you can either sell a service or you can sell a product. Now, me myself, even though I have been in and I've started and I have made some money in service-based businesses, I'm not the biggest fan of service-based businesses. Why? Because they require your actual time. Now, that looks a little weird, but this is a clock right here, right? It takes your actual time, because in order for you to fulfill a service for somebody else, is going to require your time, and you're actually just going to be selling your time, right? And why service-based businesses are so enticing to people is because we all have time. We can all sell our time. Even people with 9-to-5 jobs, right? At the end of the day, that's what they're selling to their employer, their time. It's something that we all are able to do. But you can't really grow or scale a service-based business to a certain point because it does require your actual time. Now, I'm not saying that service-based businesses are impossible to grow, because just look around at the world. There are huge service-based businesses, but they are very, very, very difficult to grow because, for one, it takes your time, and the only way to actually grow that is to get more people to sell their time actually. And then the cost of everything is increasing, and then you have to manage a whole bunch of people and whatnot. But I'm a big fan of a product-based business. Why? Because you can create a product one time and you can sell it over and over and over and over again to however many people that you want to, for however long that you want to sell the actual product. You can do the work once, implement it into an actual system. And system, that's why STEM stands for saving yourself time, energy, and money. You can create a product, put it into a system, and that system can be working for you 24/7, 365, so you can get your time back and make more while working less. So I am a big fan of always creating a product. And the great thing about living in today's day and age is that we don't have to have a physical, tangible product anymore. We can take that solution, that thing that is going to be deemed of value to somebody else, and we can use a vehicle of a digital product to package that solution. So with the digital product, all that it really requires is our mind. Those problems that we have obsessed with, that other people have, we package that solution into a vehicle of a digital product to deliver to them. And then people will pay us for those solutions because they will see that we have obsessed more than they have over their own problems. But now, once you have the product, and this is where a lot of people are really making stuff really, really complicated, like so complicated. Once you have the product, there's two ways that you can communicate that you have that product to somebody else, because it's mind-boggling to me, the people that take the time, energy, effort to create something, but they spend no time, energy, or effort in telling anybody that they have something to offer. Yeah, you gotta make something, but guess what? You gotta tell somebody else that you done made something. And there's two ways that you tell somebody else that you have something to offer. So you can communicate with them privately, or you can communicate with them publicly. These are the only two routes right here. So if you're communicating with somebody privately, you need to think of ways that people communicate on a one-to-one basis. So that would be like phone conversations, email, text messages, DMs, right? So you can have these one-on-one private conversations, but typically when you're having a one-on-one conversation with somebody, you are reaching out to them. And guess what? A lot of times people, they don't want to be reached out to. Like people that do a lot of cold calls and whatnot, people that send out a lot of cold emails, people that send out a lot of cold texts, a lot of cold DMs. Their response rates are damn near zero because people, they don't want to be bothered. An example that I love to use is the mall, like the mall kiosk. You ever been to the mall? Like say that this is the hallway at the mall, and then these are the stores, right? And you always have these people in the middle of the mall at the mall kiosk. And aren't they annoying? Don't they just pop up in your face like, hey, you want to buy this? Hey, I have this to sell. Hey, can I spray this on you, make you smell like something different? Hey, can I just clean one of your shoes? Hey, can I rub this lotion on you? You say no 100% of the time, right? Why is that? Because you don't know, like, and trust them. And you walk past them 100% of the time, and you walk into the stores that you already have brand familiarity with. So this is one reason why I don't like this side of this stuff, because typically you're doing cold outreach to somebody and they don't know who you are. They don't want to be bothered. But when you communicate publicly with somebody, this is going from a one-to-one conversation to having a conversation that's one to many. And this is a huge, huge, huge game changer right here, because when you take your model from one-on-one to one-to-many, you start to attract people. You don't have to go out and you don't have to go and find people and you don't have to pester people. You're communicating a message from one-to-many to where you will start to attract people. And it is always going to be easier to sell something to somebody that you attract versus people that you go out and try to find. It's just like regular little kids stuff, like boy meets girl, right? Boy meets girl, boy likes girl, boy pursues girl, girl doesn't want boy, but then boy figures out some type of way to attract the girl. Sometimes he may be ignoring her. He might have some candy. He might be showing the other little girl in the sandbox a little more attention than her. Now, girl comes and is attracted to boy, then boy gets girl. Business is the same way. You're always going to make more money from people that you attract than people that you go out and try to find and people that you go out and try to sell to. And guess what? It's also way easier to attract people when you communicate publicly one to many. So how do you spread your message one to many? It comes down to you creating some content for those people that have that problem that you have came up with a solution for. Look, you be sitting around all day consuming everybody's content. You need to start creating some content to have some people watch you and consume some of the stuff that you're saying. And then there's always those people that be like, well, creating content, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard creating content. How am I going to consistently make content? Well, guess what? There's something called the easy hard principle. What's easy to do in the beginning is going to be hard to do later on, or what's hard to do in the beginning is going to be easy to do later on. So anything that you've never done before is going to have a level of difficulty to it. But the only way that it gets to a point of being easy is just through repetition and practice. And it actually is easy to get started because all that you have to do is get started. That's why I said at the beginning of the video, what's easy to do is also easy to not do. It's a simple decision that people have to make. And some people are not willing to make a simple decision of becoming a better communicator, that they would much rather just continuously live day after day after day, week after week after week, month after month after month, year after year after year of a life that they truly don't even desire to live. By when all that they have to simply do is just turn on a freaking camera and start to create content to communicate one to many, to get your message in front of the intended people that you can actually help. And at the core essence of anything that you want to do as an entrepreneur, it all comes down to communication skills. All that you have to do is come up with a solution to somebody else's problem and just effectively communicate that solution that you have to them. There's no better way to do this than with content. Because look, what you have access to right now is unbelievable. Like in my mind, at least, it's unbelievable. I don't know if this may sound as crazy to you as it does to me. We all have access to leverage now. There's never been a time in human existence where everybody was playing on an even playing field to all have access to the same leverage. So there's 4 levels of leverage that have been used to accumulate wealth since the beginning of all time. And they are labor, capital, code, and media. So the reason why I say that we all are playing on the same playing field, because in years past, a lot of people couldn't use labor for leverage to actually generate life-changing income for themselves, because way back in the day, when people all over the globe were utilizing free labor through slavery to generate wealth for themselves, everybody wasn't able to do that. And now to the days where you can borrow other people's money, guess what? Everybody isn't in situations or even have the knowledge to know what to do with somebody else's capital, which is the second level. Because nowadays, in order to leverage somebody's labor, you need some type of capital, because you have to pay somebody now for their labor. But everybody doesn't have access to money, and everybody doesn't have access to lines of credit, investors, and whatnot. Then everybody doesn't have access to code, because the next level of billionaires that started to get made were leveraging code. Everybody doesn't know how to use code. Everybody's not a coder. But guess what? Everybody does have access to media through these social media platforms, through a platform that you're on right now like YouTube, which I highly suggest you get started on YouTube, because YouTube is by far the best traffic source. I wish that I took my YouTube seriously years ago, because I've only been taking YouTube seriously for about a year, and it's changed my life beyond measures. So I'll say that the best time to start taking your YouTube seriously was years ago. The second best time is today, right now. But all that we have to do is take our product and attach it to our actual media. Now it just simply becomes a numbers game. So let's say let's work in reverse. $1 million is the goal. 6 O's make a million, right? $1 million is the target that we're looking to hit. So let's say that we have a low ticket digital product. Let's say that we have a product available for $50, right? So for something at $50, we would have to sell 20,000 of them, right, to get to this $1 million. Now it simply just turns into a numbers game. But I always know there's going to be those people who be like, well, how am I supposed to sell 20,000 units of something? You got to get out of your own head, because people that think like that are talking them out of even creating the product before they even get started, because they're thinking of how they're going to sell 20,000 units. Well, guess what? You're not going to sell one unit if you don't have the product made. So stop thinking of problems that have not arisen yet. Stop thinking yourself out of stuff before you even get started, because 99% of people are thinking of all the ways that something can't work, or the stuff that they don't know how to do that's stopping them from even taking some action. Make the product first, and then guess what? Once you have something, you will start to think of ways that you can sell it. You will start to think of ways to get in front of people's faces. You will start to think of ways that you can start to attract eyeballs to yourself. And then guess what? Through that stuff that you are experimenting with, you will start to see what doesn't work. And guess what the best way is to find out what does work? By figuring out what doesn't work. So don't worry about if you don't know how to get in front of 20,000 people. You're already setting yourself up for failure. But look, I wasn't the best student at math. Or I wasn't the best student, period. But I know math was my worst subject. But I do know that they did teach me one thing that I do remember, and it was just moving around these zeros. And this is what I actually do in any of my business endeavors, to actually work backwards from my income objective, so I can actually start to put a plan together. Because most people, they're just running around here like chickens with their heads cut off, like with no plan of action, no strategy, and they're just doing stuff, right? So somebody might be like, okay, it's 20,000 people. That seems like a lot. I don't know if I can do that. Well, if you just take this zero from right here, add it up here, well, now all that you need is something for $500. If you come up with a product for $500, you only have to sell that to 2,000 people now. And I'm telling you, this is more than feasible with the access that you have to leverage your own media nowadays. 2,000 is so attainable for the average human being to sell 2,000 products to somebody. And I feel like I'm an average human being. Selling 20,000 of something to somebody is attainable, because I've sold about 25,000 units of something at a $50 price point to people before. This stuff ain't rocket science, and this stuff ain't impossible, but it all starts with you making the decision to do it. Now, playing around with these numbers here, if you eliminate this other zero, just put it right here. Well, if you sold something that may be a little more higher ticketed, you only have to sell 200 of them at a $5,000 price point, and just keep on moving around the zeros for whatever works for you on whatever strategy you intend to implement for yourself. But I'm telling you, this stuff is so simple, and this is how you get numbers coming in online in your business, like all them that you see on the screen right now. So if you're ready to make more working less online from stuff that you already know, go ahead and click the link down in the description and join the It's Credited at the Top community. For weekly coaching for myself, all my exclusive trainings, plus a private community of entrepreneurs, all designed to grow your business online. It's only $47 a month to join right now. That's less than a cup of coffee per day. So click the link down in the description to tap in, and I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. But I'm telling you, you have to have a plan of action. You can't just be running around here just aimlessly doing stuff. You have to know what inputs you're working on in order for you to get your desired outputs. And I'm telling you, if you just focus on selling something to someone, and then just obsess on coming up with a solution to somebody else's problem as that thing that you are actually going to sell to them, to provide value to them, to actually provide true help to that person. And then leverage your media to publicly communicate to the masses that you have that solution to a problem that other people have, and really show them that you have obsessed more than they have over their own problems, so they feel comfortable to happily spend their money with you. I'm telling you, it gets so simple. And that's when people start to say stuff like, oh, it looks so easy for you. It looks so easy for you. And then you can be like, yeah, because I actually simplified stuff to actually make it easier for myself. Because the simple stuff scales and the fancy stuff fails. So go ahead and click the link down in the description if you want to tap into the community. And I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. Go ahead and check out this video right here for a system to create 3 tiny digital products that you will make a bare minimum of $100,000 with. It's Credited at the Top.